There is one thing stronger than all the armies in the world put together, and that is an idea whose time has come. Idea perhaps is the most dangerous and most powerful of all the weapons. Hello and a very warm welcome viewers. You're watching this special presentation of Sunset TV on the journey of startups. India has the third largest startup ecosystem in the world. And if you're an aspiring entrepreneur or even otherwise, this is your destination as we script the novel success stories of startups, analyze the roadblocks and give wings to your dreams of becoming a job giver and not being a job seeker. So today, let's hear the story of water management startup Agua Wireless Systems and the founders Rohit and Kanish. Worried about increasing water scarcity, rising water bills and inefficient water management? Kanish and Rohit have a solution for you with their startup. Agua Wireless System is an initiative that provides highly intelligent wireless water management system. It is affordable as well as efficient and comes in a compact, easy-to-use, plug-and-play design. India has 4% of the world's water resources, but in 2011, it moved to be water-stressed. A 2019 Niti Aayog report said that India is suffering from the worst water crisis in its history, and almost 600 million of its population is water deprived. Agua Wireless System is focusing on manufacturing and distributing smart water management systems that allow access to water tanks, motors and meters. All right, Rohit and Kanish, welcome to Sunset TV and thank you so much for joining us.
Glad to be here.
Glad to be here.
Rohit, you were a college dropout. Kanish, you were working with a multinational company.
Right.
Somebody emerges, gets two of you to connect, and then starts Agua Wireless Systems. Take me through the journey of this startup.
So, as you mentioned, Rohit is a college dropout, and Rohit was facing a lot of problems within Bangalore. So I'll start with that.
So I had a house where we had a few tenants, and there used to be this problem of people turning the motor on and leaving it on all the time. And I could not find a reliable solution for the same. Everything used to fail within a few months. And so I was studying electronics and I wanted to solve that problem. So that's when I started making water level controllers. They started learning about water metering and impact of the same, how much water it saves. And during this journey, we started developing a lot of tech. And then we joined hands and took this on a global level. We won various international awards, we scaled our startup, and now we're here.
So me personally, I had always been passionate about saving water, conservation, social problems as a whole. As a kid, like we were always taught to have those values imbibed. So after I graduated from IIM Indore, I knew that now I have the business acumen. Now I want to apply it and learn much more. A business school can only teach you that much. So that's when I set out to solve this problem myself, and a mutual friend connected us. He told me that Rohit is already working on these solutions. And yes, together we joined hands, and 2019, August is when we were established. And now we, in a very short span, we have accomplished a lot, and there is so much more still that we would want to accomplish.
All right, so you talked about the awards and the recognition. The startups have this knack of selling their awards and also their recognition, but we'll talk about it in just a bit. But tell me, Kanish, how about your family? You were quitting your job, a very well-settled job. Were they supportive? Did they want you to begin this journey?
So it's a two-pronged answer. My father, he's a businessman. I come from a family of businessmen. But despite that, my dad was not very excited about me joining the business world because he had faced a lot of issues like every businessman does. And he did not want that life for me. He wanted me in a well-settled life. But despite that, like they were fully behind me once I took that call. Yeah.
And what about you, Rohit? Being a college dropout, the pressure of the society, parents, and then the startup.
So for me, so my dad used to ask me to go, 3 flights down, turn the motor on, and come back, and then wait till the water starts overflowing, and then go back down. So it was a problem that was very painful for me to get out of bed and do that. So when I started solving it, there were so many small problems that were there, which is why nobody else was successful in the field. because it required solving hundreds of problems over many years. And until that was solved, everything else was tuned out in my head. It's like there's a problem in front of me, I need to give it my 100% for it to work, and that's all I focused on. So yes, there were a lot of disappointments, fights, all that is part and parcel of any journey, I believe, for somebody to come from zero to there. But yeah, it's a cliche story, I would say, that happens everywhere.
By the way, all ears for your cliched story, but the two of you came together. And then how did you think of the business model?
There was a lot of trial and error for sure. Like as Rohit mentioned, water level controllers was something that we started off with, and that was the consumer-focused product. It was simple motor automation. We slowly found out that doesn't work. That is not scalable because the margins there for individual consumers are really low, right? And what the tech that he had built had applications in so many other areas. For example, in industries, in city-level distribution systems, in flood management systems. There were so many diversified applications of the simple tech that had been built, which was an IoT platform. Now to take that and scale that is where the business model came in. So we did a lot of trial and error, did a lot of pilot projects with multiple stakeholders in the water space and villages. We did pilots in buildings and industries. Combined all that, we have arrived at, the products which will create the maximum impact in the least amount of time or effort. So that's through the trial and error, we are at that stage where we are ready to scale those solutions.
I mean, we must have done over 100 pilots till date.
Okay.
So it's been building solutions after solutions after solutions, and yeah, ultimately we have arrived here.
So ultimately you've arrived, of course, but the biggest challenge for such a social cause is, of course, finding the market. Who is going to be your buyer? Who is going to be your client? How did market validation come for the both of you?
Right. So for market validation, again, as I mentioned, like consumers was something we started off with. But then we realized that water as a resource is still not valued enough in India. There are so many subsidies being provided for water. Users don't really care how much water they're using, wasting. They just care if they do not have water. So they were not very much concerned about saving water as such. We learned that the hard way, but we also learned that the industries where these are your water businesses, your real estate companies, these are the companies who might not care about saving water, but they care about having a differentiated offering differentiated offering for their consumers. To do that, we augment their offering using technology. We ensure that they are optimizing the use of their water, and if they're a water-based business, they are getting much more value. They're giving much more value to their customer using our devices. And that's where the sweet spot for us lies. And of course, government is also doing a lot in terms of Jal Jeevan Mission, smart cities. So tying up with those projects is also something where we are going forward with.
So
Rohit, who all are your clients?
I think we are also working with a couple of NGOs like Gram Vikas, and we've been working closely with the Haryana government, trying to implement water distribution systems on a village level, in the village domain, to ensure that every house gets the amount of water that they need. And to arrive at that solution, we have had to, understand that it's not the user that is using the most water or losing the most water. It happens on a larger level, on the distribution system, on the filtering system and other places. So that's how we got higher in the value chain and understood who our clients exactly are.
So how difficult is it to pursue them, to sell this idea?
So one thing that has not been very hard for us. Why? Because we have not been pursuing clients as such. We have been working on inbound leads. Fantastic. So whatever requirements the client comes up with, whatever like this quota-based delivery system, this smart distribution system, is something that was conceived by the client. We are the ones who developed it and now are scaling it. But all of our ideas are first validated by the client themselves rather than us coming up with an idea and then seeing if there's a market for it. We have been working on the other way around, and that's what has worked for us the best.
So to us, it's like there's no problem unsolved. We solve every problem that comes through our doors and work on that.
All right, for a startup, getting the investment perhaps is the most difficult part. Of course, finding market as well. I hear that it was bootstrap by the two
Yes.
of you. So, were there reservations from the family? How much money did you put in? There were jitters. Take me through that story.
Sure. So, like, we have put in money, but I would say that the majority of our business has been revenue driven as well as driven through competitions and grants. So, this is one thing that that clicked in the very beginning. Like, at that time, we did not have a lot of revenue, but we took part in a lot of competitions. There were a lot of competitions being held by the government, by colleges, private institutions, international organizations. Uh, Taking part in all these, we won a lot of those, and that kind of bank rolled us for the first year, and that was enough to build a team and get started, and that's where revenue kicked in. So,
Rohit, you were very interested in talking about your awards and recognition. Tell me that.
Okay, so I've been honored by the government of Haryana in 2017 before we started Agua. And since we started Agua, we have won, I think the first award we had was Asian Development Bank. It was a competition between 40 countries, 220 companies, and globally we came number one as the global water solution for, what was the topic?
it was future proofing the water supply, future proofing
Against global water crisis. Yeah.
global water crisis.
So post that we won the Urban Innovation Challenge from Columbia University, and then we also
We were
won.
top 10 in the ICT Grand Challenge organized by the Ministry of Electronic and IT. Then we had awards from Western Digital, and we're still pursuing a lot of different competitions as well.
So, why did people trust the two of you? Why did they trust your idea, the concept? We found out. Let's listen in.
In the challenge competition, we supported Agua because of two main reasons. One is that they're solving a very pertinent issue, the problem of water scarcity, which is going to be extremely important for urban as well as rural India. Particularly, the threat is going to increase because of climate change as well as rapid urbanizations that is happening in the country. And number two, because we found in them a team that could execute this problem with their innovative tech solution at scale.
Rohit and Kanish, the story sounds inspiring, but I'm sure it mustn't have been easy. What were the challenges? What were the biggest roadblocks? And how did the two of you deal with it?
So the biggest challenge I feel, as I mentioned earlier, was related to consumer education. Consumers are really not aware of these new age technologies which are coming up. IoT is just a buzzword in the tech community so far. It's not something which has mass market appeal or even basic awareness. So educating people about what exactly we were building, how it was different from the existing solutions, your PLC SCADA systems or the manual way of doing things, how was everything different, how is our solution different and why they should care about it. It's been a challenge, but then that is where these early adopters that we have been talking about, the people we have been working with in the pilot stage, the people who have been approaching us, they have had a huge impact in terms of helping us build the infrastructure. Now that the technology infrastructure is built, now that the strategic partnerships in place, we feel we are much more well prepared to handle any consumer objection. We have a complete list of objections that might come up. We have the accurate answers. We can give you exact payback periods for all the products that you might have to invest in. And we have even come up with a model in which you will not be investing anything. You'll be just paying a subscription fee per user. So there's no upfront cost essentially. The capital intensive model just moves to an operational expense, a monthly operational expense. So any other challenge you would like to add to?
I think this challenge itself exists in the government bodies as well, where the conventional rules and laws do not allow new technology to take front. I mean, by the time a technology has seen 3 years in the field, it's already obsolete. So that's where even I have observed, so it's also a solution, a lot of government bodies are now going for subscription models. Rather than buying the equipment and then paying for service, they're just paying for the data itself. So that's something, few innovations we have seen in the government sector as well happening.
So, like, what are these innovations?
For example, we are in discussion with a government body which is looking to install water meters on a per month fee basis. And this has never happened before. This was something that happened in the consumer sector, wherein the company installing the water meters or equipment for water saving and quality control, they would, in the private sector, they would charge the customer rental. But government was never up to that earlier. But now, with this government body that we have the discussions going on with, they are looking at implementing this model in a real life scenario for flood management systems, for sewage management systems that we have, also for water distribution systems for villages, wherein it is a purely rental based model, which helps the government also avoid risk of buying equipment which may or may not be serviced, and also helps the company service the client better.
So, how did you overcome those challenges? We spoke to your team members as well. Let's listen in.
Here at Agua, we have a motto, saving made simple. We are on a mission to make water management easy and save every drop of water that we can. With the smart devices like water level controllers, flow meters, automatic valves, and quality sensors, we can automate people's entire infrastructure and they can monitor it through the mobile application. These devices help people reduce their water wastage, plus they can check the quality of the water they are getting. We are trying to make a difference in this world by solving a real world problem faced by many people every day. Being a part of such company where your ideas are welcomed, where everyone has an equal opportunity to present their opinion at every stage of planning and strategizing, makes me feel welcome. We are always kept in a loop for and border organization goals. Being part of Agua for more than 2 years, my journey so far has been fabulous.
So what I love about working for Agua is we find solutions to problems really quick, and we have such amazing tools which help in a lot of precision and accuracy which are required to today's standards, and we find solutions, be it day and night. We work hard on it, and it's really amazing how we are all one tight unit.
All right, Ganesh and Rohit, currently the valuation of your company or startup is 120 CR.
Yes.
What are the future growth projections? How do you plan to achieve them?
This 120 CR is based on our projection for this year, which is going to be 20 CR based on the purchase orders we have in hand. Moving forward, we are going to scale this technology to all the different parts of the water value chain, using the water-based businesses partnership that we have, using the real estate partnerships, and using the government tie-ups that we have generated. And there'll be a lot more that will be in the pipeline soon enough. So basis that, over 5 years, we expect the valuation to go up to 2000 CR.
Okay, so we've been working in various domains. For example, on the consumer front, for water management of a household, wherein a user is able to see how much water they utilize on a daily basis and how much water they're receiving from the government or generating from their bore wells, and also help them understand how they can save more in terms of electricity cost or other such things. On the institutional front, we are now working with various industries in automating their sewage treatment plants, wherein the entire facility, which once used to be managed by people in hazardous environments, is completely automated and well managed and well handled, essentially. And on the government front, we are looking to deploy distribution systems for cities and water bodies to take care of their water resources, to save as much as 50% of the money that they are not able to receive today, or generate better revenue or provide better quality of water. So these are the domains that we are planning to work in and grow our business in the future.
Right. So just to add to that, our overall vision for the next 5 years would be to be part of the entire water value chain. We're talking about procurement, we're talking about distribution, billing, essentially everything. Our limited water resources have to be optimized to such a level that each user, irrespective of where they are in the pipeline, what their social demographics are, what their previous water usage might have been, they should get their equitable share. Not equal, but equitable share, where they're getting their fair share based on their actual demand as estimated by the government. So we want to control the water to such a level that each citizen gets their fair share.
All right, before we wrap up this show, Ganesh and Rohit, what is your message to the other budding entrepreneurs, particularly in this field and generally in the startup ecosystem?
Okay, so I have two. So one is that persistence and patience, they might seem like fancy keywords, but then they are extremely relevant when they come to a startup founder. You might have to knock at multiple doors. You have to run around, hustle till the door opens. But believe me, doors do open. Eventually, there will be a door which opens, and that is the door you were looking for in the first place. So persistence and patience both are required. And the second thing is that it's very important to know who your target clientele is. What is their potential a wallet size that they might be able to invest, and not just the wallet size, right? It's also important as to their wallet share. How much portion of their wallet are they actually allocating to the problem that you're trying to solve? Is water that relevant to them? Maybe not for a consumer. Maybe the wallet share over there would be next to zero. But for a water business or the government, the market wallet share is definitely high because that's the basic service that they're providing over there.
True. So, I would give a very generic answer here, in the sense that you gotta give it your all, because if you are making something and you want it to work for you, you have to give it 100%. So I remember in the starting days of my career, I used to work as long as 18 hours a day and for very long months, and even then fail, and keep failing. And then there were a few successes as well. And as long as you keep working and you keep trying to solve problems and you keep trying, you will eventually get better and get there. And it's a simple saying, great pressure makes diamonds, and that does not happen without the right amount of work put into it.
Absolutely. So as you said that you have to give it your all. On that note, Kanish and Rohit, all the very best for all your future endeavors, and thank you so much for joining us.
All right, thank you. This was a lot of fun.
Thank you for having us.
Well, viewers, that's all we had for you in this edition. Thanks for watching and stay tuned to Sunset TV. Namaskar.